Welcome back, my friends. I have finally returned, and this time with an amazing installment. This is Slinky Dog Dash, one of the best coasters in Orlando. Certainly a great children's coaster, now recreated in Roller Coaster Tycoon 2. It's taken me quite a long time to get this working just right. It was decently fun to build. Now, of course, I am building this with vanilla assets, so some things are not going to look that accurate to real life, and that's totally okay with me. In fact, the track itself is a little bit spread out, I should say. Just a little more spread out than in real life, but I had to make it work with the scale that I'm using right now. So, without further ado, let's get into the tour. So, starting with the entrance right here, we have that iconic bridge that goes right over where the train launches. Goes up here until we have this little, I guess I would call it an island, really? Where we have the actual entrance to the queue, where guests can walk in, through the little queue line right here, into the loading area, and if we use the cutaway view option, boom, you can watch them get right on in, just like that. Now, the train itself, I looked around for different styles to use to make it look like Slinky Dog, and there wasn't much to choose from with using just generic Roller Coaster Tycoon styles. So I just went with this bullet train with a dark brown paint to it, and it's the best as I could get it. You know, this is a Giga Coaster because that's exactly what it's like in real life. So for the first time in this playthrough or this project, the roller coaster type is actually the same as what the real life version is. You know, these Giga Coaster style. The supports obviously are not completely accurate because I tried using the supports that Roller Coaster Tycoon has that you can add on, such as like these ones right here, but they were not meshing too well to the track, so I just decided to keep them natural. As you can see here, we have the station area where the guests get unloaded. They also, this is two separate stations, so one for unloading, one for loading, so that creates two blocked sections, which is nice. And of course, this train uses boosters to get itself momentum, not chain lifts, which is nice because it allows it's a more exciting coaster that way. I did put a block section here for the sake of the game, because in real life, this is the booster ramp. Now, I'm guessing they use this to hold vehicles in case something happens, but I had to put the block section here. In real life, if everything is running correctly, the train does not stop here. You know, that's not a thing. But I'm assuming it would if something were to happen. But for the sake of running this in the game, I had to make the block section here, just so that the loading would go a little bit faster. Otherwise, the guests were waiting quite a long time. So that is where the train stops. Now, if we increase our cutaway view here a little more. Oh, just get rid of it. We have the launch section right here. Launches itself up that first big hill where it shows off to everyone in Toy Story Land. And it drops again through these toy blocks. And yes, I did try my best to recreate those little toy blocks that are part of the scenery of not just the ride, but of Toy Story Land in general. You know, the story is that Andy is playing in his backyard. He set up this little toy coaster, and he's put his blocks up to make it look like there's little buildings that it's going through. And also there's Rex. This is the closest I could get to Rex. He's standing on top of a stack of Jenga blocks. There's supposed to be Jessie right here, but there was nothing even remotely close to a female cowgirl. Or I guess, sorry, a cowgirl. Cowgirls are female. The only thing that I had was the Latin dancers, and I don't think that would be appropriate for Toy Story Land, so not going to do that. So going on down further here, goes into the first. This is the main helix. I guess what is it? What is this called? The helix. Then it comes down again, where it goes into this banked curve corner, 180-degree turn. Comes right in underneath the track again, and we get into the second launch of the ride. Now this part, I think, looks very good. I'm very happy with how this turned out. I am able to use these, what are they called? These little jelly bean walls that the game has for scenery, and I've colored them to make it look like toys, because that's what the park has in real life. It has these little toy walls, like Lego bricks almost. So I'm using that for that effect there. And then you have the launch part. Now, building the little launch arches where it says ready, set, go, or whatever, I couldn't recreate that super accurately, so I went with this glass pane style, and it, building this, I kind of looked back and I was like, this looks exactly like the, what are they called from Tron, the rectifiers. Looks like that ship. But this is the closest I could get. Plus, I can have the green, yellow, orange, and red effects here to make it look like the same thing in real life. So if we take a look here, as the next train comes through, let's just wait a second here. There it is. So as you can see, the train comes through. It slows, doesn't come to a complete stop. There is a block break right in here, so that if something when the ride closes, the train will stop here, and that way it can not crash into the other trains that are waiting in the station. So just like in real life, it it slows down right here. In the real life version, it slows to a complete stop, and then it actually reverses a little bit, and then it builds up the whole launch sequence, which is kind of neat. So as you can see here, it launches up that giant hill right there. I guess giant, relatively speaking. Comes down here, does this little turn here, and then we have this, what is it, 4 mini hills? Gosh, when you go on this ride, it kind of like gets you. It's like, oh my gosh, okay, I feel like I'm gonna get seasick or something. Come down here. This is I'm pretty sure this is where the photo section is in real life. I honestly couldn't remember or find out, but here's where the photos are taken, and then you round the corner again, and then you get to the final, or the end of the ride. And this is supposed to be Wheezy, who is singing the song, what is it? You Got a Friend in Me or whatever. At the end of the ride, this is supposed to be a book behind him. I know this is as close as I could get with what I had at my disposal. And of course, this jazz player is the closest I could get to Wheezy. So, shockingly, there's no giant animatronic penguin in Roller Coaster Tycoon scenery that I can use, so I have to settle with this guy instead. Let me go back into the station, and that is it. That is Slinky Dog Dash in Roller Coaster Tycoon 2. I did use, for the grass, because the way that Toy Story is themed is, like I said, it's Andy's set up in his backyard with all his toys. Disney likes to use giant stalks of bamboo to simulate giant grass, which I guess bamboo is giant grass anyway, so you know what I mean. So I use that here to kind of give the illusion of the walls, sectioning off different areas of Toy Story Land. So we have the giant bamboo here, walling off Toy Story Land from the rest of the park. And then these tan castle walls are supposed to be cardboard. I think it looks decent, Of course, there's that yellow stripe there in the middle, but that's fine with me. There is a giant blade of grass scenery piece, but it just doesn't look that great with the rest of the park and the scenery, so I just stuck with bamboo. So anyway, that is Roller Coaster Tycoon 2 Slinky Dog Dash. So, hope you guys enjoyed it. I know videos have been very slow these past few weeks. I've been busy, but now that this coaster has been built, I think what we're going to do next is, I guess, go into the animation courtyard, go into Sunset Boulevard. There's not going to be rides for a bit, I guess, because I already did, what's it called? Mickey's Runaway Railway. I already did that one, so there's not a lot of rides until we get to Tower of Terror, which will be fun to build. So, until then, thank you for watching, and until next time.